Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hop right into it, Linda.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
That worked. So, it's good to see everybody. Lots of faces. Beautiful sunny day out. So, for our gathering music today, we're going to sing this little Light of Mine, which I think probably most people know. It's on 118 in your great hymnal. And please stand and body your spirit.
You can ring your bell.
And you can ring your bell. This is going to be the fun part. So welcome, folks, to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hillsborough, where we constantly strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek community and support. We don't worship in any one specific way each week, and we don't require that we all adhere to one specific creed or common belief. Rather, we're a covenant community, committed to loving and supporting each other in our individual lifelong quest for truth and meaning in matters of our personal faith. You are an essential part in our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1,000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We're all together here. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome. So everyone turn and welcome those sitting around you with a heartfelt good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. got a choice about it, make it a good morning. My name's Linda Seligman, and I'm the worship coordinator for today's service, but I'm filling in for Jenny Kiles, who is supposed to be our coordinator today, and she's not feeling well, so I'm helping out today. And it's a lay-led congregation. There are many contributors, many behind-the-scene folks, many, and make our services possible, including wonderful Aviva over here, who prepares our music. So we give a big thank you to everyone who helps make this a great place to gather, to learn, and to grow in spirit and love and community. And that's the most important part. And each Sunday after our sermon, we take up a monetary offering to support various worthy causes. And for the month of this month, our plate is going to Orange County Justice United. And Justice United is a broad-based community power organization rooted in the congregations and neighborhoods of Orange County. And Allison, gotta do our intro.
This morning, I would invite you all to please give a very warm welcome to my good friend, Donna Kay. Donna is a very dear friend of mine. I have known her for many years, and she's introduced to me by another really good friend of mine, who is not here this morning. But Donna and I are in a book club together. And so we've had many opportunities to discuss all kinds of things based on the books that we're reading, and it always leads into deeper conversation about what we believe and where we got our beliefs and all of that. And that is why I wanted to invite Donna to speak with us this morning. Donna's background is in human resources. She worked at UNC Healthcare for many years, and she's now retired. And she's not really retired, because she's incredibly active in all sorts of things to protect our democracy and make life better and more welcoming for people all throughout the community. And Donna is a member of the Judeo Reform Synagogue in Durham. So thank you so much, Donna.
So before we create our time for worshiping together, I'd like to remind everybody that after the service we'll have coffee in here, coffee and tea, and you're welcome to be with each other and increase our community spirit. And if you're visiting today, please consider staying so we can get to know you better. And please take a look at your order of service to see the announcements on the back. And but now we can take a brief moment to share any other important announcements that aren't listed in the order of service. And you can come on up. And also, it's a good reminder for cell phones to make them be quiet and so they don't go off. We call that worship mode. So if you have an announcement that is not in the order of service, please come on up.
Coming back.
I got a phone call from one of my neighbors shortly after the election, and she told me that some people were being harassed in Food Lion because of bumper stickers that they had on the back of their car, and she wanted my help in organizing a community get-together to begin to address the kind of community that we want to create and to strategize about what we're going to do if mass deportations are in fact carried out based on campaign promises made by the president-elect. And so thus began all of this coordinating and trying to figure out what we were going to do. So if you are interested in being involved, please see me after the service. This is culminated in a community breakfast that is going to happen next Saturday morning at 9 a.m. There is an RSVP form that I'll be happy to share with you, but it is a broad coalition of immigrants, refugees, immigrants, refugees, Christians, the Jewish community, and I would really love it if the Unitarians could have a strong presence at this event next Saturday morning at 9 a.m.
Where?
It's going to be at Jones Grove Missionary Baptist Church, which is pastored by Tremaine Royster, who is the president-elect of the NAACP for Northern Orange County.
It was almost here.
Hi, everybody. I think most of y'all know that we are going to have a float in the Hillsborough Holiday Parade today. So the float has to be in line at the staging area, which is the parking lot with Habitat for Humanity where Churton and 70 meet downtown. The float will get there at 2:45. That lot is reserved for people to park at that are coming with the floats, so you should hopefully be able to park there. And the parade officially starts at 4, so please try to get there by like 3:30 at the latest. And we're gonna do the last minute flocking of the float as we're there and waiting. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, come and see me, and I hope as many people as possible can join us. My name's Kim.
Hey, I'm Amy, real quick, because we have a lot of visitors here next week, December 15th. We are doing a Pathway to Membership class here. If you're curious about membership, that's where you want to be. You will learn more about Unitarian Universalism and what it means to be a member at UUCH. You will not be pressured to join the congregation. You can do that in your own time. There will be an opportunity to do so, but if you're curious, please come and learn about us. It's fun. Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you. So if there are no more announcements, last chance. Okay, all right, well then let's prepare ourselves for our time of reflection and celebration by reminding ourselves who we are and why we gather. So Unitarian Universalism draws from our heritage of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, built on the foundation of love. So love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. In today's chalice lighting, the words are written by Francis Cozier. May we light this chalice this morning to remind us of the power and beauty of balance and contrast. It is darkness that can make the flame of a single candle so powerful, and light that deepens those shadows in turn. A chalice flame is the meeting point, the union of the refuge, safety, and incredible beauty of darkness, and the warmth, the assurance, and the joy of light. May this act of lighting our chalice this morning remind us that we are stronger together in all the complexities and the disagreements of relationship, because we are different and because we are one.
So from the reading this morning, it is Teach Us to Look for You by Austin Fleming. Spirit of the living God, turn our faces to the east to look for your presence. Turn our faces in every direction from which you draw near to us. Teach us to look for you in places we would not expect to find you. Teach us to find you in places so well known to us that we now fail to see you there. Help us to see you in every guest we entertain, Let the beauty of a rose, of any bloom, reveal your presence to us. Let every bird of whose wings across the sky above remind us of the freedom that is ours. Let every star in the heavens be a light in the darkness of our lonely nights. Never let us forget that you are love, and that those who abide in love abide in you. Teach us to look east, sweet mystery, and north and south and west, that we might find you in every place we look, including within ourselves. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 226, People Look East.
It's a correction. It's 226.
So now's our time for joys, sorrows, and milestones. This is a special ritual that we include in our Sunday services. It happens in two parts. First, we take time to share aloud, for those who choose to do so. And we make some time for silent acknowledgments of concerns or sorrows or joys or special milestones that have occurred since the last that we gathered. Both parts include dropping stones into the vase here on the altar, symbolizing a communal collection and acknowledgement of our experiences, thereby strengthening the bonds between us as a community. And so I ask that you folks kind of sink in deeply, consider what's happened in this last week, and then you can come on up, share your name, and tell us what's been happening for you. And we will, and then what I'd like you to do is drop a stone on your way back to your seat. Thank you. Come on up. And for those of you who would prefer to silently acknowledge your joys and sorrows remaining in your hearts, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone into the vase in silence while Aviva plays Dark of Winter. And after she plays it through once, we'll join in singing this meditation song, and the words are printed in your order of service. Within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken. By remaining silent for a moment, let us consider what has been shared and how we might respond. And now let us close our sharing time by saying together, Amen and blessed be. Amen and blessed be. And now we're going to bless our RE classes on their way by singing the words printed in your order of service.
But first, the RE teacher is going to say.
Oh yes, that's right. You're going to let us know what you're up to.
So, when our grown-ups stand up and sing, we call ourselves the songbirds, SONGBUURDS. So when the kids sing, we call them the early birds, again with the UU. And they're going to be singing as part of our candlelight service in 2 weeks. And so today we're going to start learning the song that they're going to sing. And if our younger kids want to go play in the early room, we can do that as well.
But they're also welcome to stay in the sanctuary.
They're also welcome to stay in the sanctuary, yes. Lots of choices.
Sing to class.
Good morning again. I'm so honored to be with all of you this morning. My topic was initially talking about practicing presence when you disagree. And perhaps I was asked to speak on this topic because as a Jew, my people are known for disagreement. It's okay to laugh. You may have heard the adage, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. And there's also an anecdote about a Jew who was discovered after years of living alone on a desert island, and his rescuers noticed that he had built 2 huts, aside from the one he lived in. And when the people who rescued him asked him, why do you have 2 extra huts? He said, well, those are actually shuls or synagogues. And when asked, well, why do you have 2 shuls? He replied, well, one is the shul in which I pray in, and the other is the one I would never step foot in. So as we shift and look at the other side of that, the comments about practicing presence when you disagree, let's look at presence. Eckhart Tolle, author of The Power of Now and many other books, wrote that presence is when you no longer are waiting for the next moment, believing that that next moment will be more fulfilling than this one. He also said presence is awareness of your true eternal essence, which is universal energy. So I would say it's easier to access that awareness, that true essence, when we are with people who share our viewpoint. Just like it's easier to be a good leader when the people who you are leading think and act similarly to you, or to be a good parent when your children agree with you. But to be a spiritually developed person requires us to grow and cultivate that level of presence with people who are different than us, especially those who disagree with us. So our central question today is, how do I practice presence when someone has a different perspective than me? And we can start by recalling the reading from today that says, teach us to look east, sweet mystery, and north, and south, and west, that we may find you in every place we look, including within ourselves. To me, this reading says to look within ourselves first and tap into the strength and courage to look at humanity in the other and to seek empathy. And for this, there are 2 quotes that I find very helpful. They're almost like my personal mantra. The first quote is from Jonathan Swift. He wrote Gulliver's Travels in 1726. And he said, please forgive those who sin differently than me. And from Martin Luther King Jr., you may be familiar, said that there is good in the worst of us and evil in the best of us. Let me say that again. There is good in the worst of us and evil in the best of us. These quotes remind me that we have a tendency to judge and demonize those with whom we disagree. In addition to remembering these quotes, I find that reminding myself of the decency and kindness of people who I personally know who happen to disagree with me, especially politically, is extremely helpful. You know, when people are politically similar, we may disagree with them on other topics. Yes, there are things to disagree with other than politics. My mom and I, we disagree on lots of things, especially about how to handle life in general. Her coping strategy is to complain, obsess, be critical, and see the glass as half empty, all of which I find difficult. A friend of mine once gave me a mantra-generating empathy statement of, it must be difficult to be her, especially given her mental health challenges. And if this sounds like pity, let me say a word about how empathy is different than pity. Empathy involves actively connecting to another's emotions, putting yourself in their shoes, while pity is more about feeling sorry for someone with a sense of superiority and detachment. And as you can imagine, pity does not bring us closer to presence the way that empathy does. So after looking within ourselves, we need to practice looking outward and seek curiosity instead of condemnation. And to help put this into practice, we need to ask ourselves a central question highlighted in the book Crucial Conversations, which I was very familiar with my work at UNC Healthcare. And that question is, why would a reasonable, rational person do or say what this person is doing? We really have to search for that reasonable and rationalist. Also, why would a reasonable, rational person think differently than me? This question helps us to understand a person's unmet need. You know, we humans, we really do have common core needs. The need for safety, the need for significance, to matter and be seen, the need for dignity and respect, the need for belonging. Identifying these core needs is a way of opening our heart and being present. And once we can acknowledge our common needs, I think it's easier to reframe our disagreements more about strategy differences, and that makes it easier to work with. The third practice is to change our intention, this one's really hard for me, from changing someone's mind to focusing on the quality of the conversation. The ultimate goal, according to the organization Braver Angels, is to not change how the other person thinks, but to change how we see or think about the other person. And by the way, the mission of Braver Angels, how many people have ever heard of Braver Angels? So their mission is to bring Americans together to bridge the partisan divide and strengthen the democratic republic. And there are chapters and regions here, and they also have nationwide virtual sessions, and I've participated in a few and found them helpful. And knowing that organizations like this exist helped me feel more hopeful. But in order to focus on the quality of our conversation than convincing, I think we need to have a conversation what I say is below the neck, heart-centered, which really is the essence of presence. Now, I'm under no illusion that this is easy to do. So the question is, why do it if it's so hard? What if the other people don't do it? What's in it for us? And here I refer back to a line from our reading. All of this allows us to look for the divine in places that we would not expect, and thus it expands our spiritual sense of presence. And this is better for us physically and psychologically and for overall well-being. Because when we experience that quality of presence, we are not in a state of constant hypervigilance, anxiety, or depression. Interestingly, a Columbia University study from 2023 noted that American adults who identify as politically liberal long have reported lower levels of happiness and psychological well-being than conservatives, a trend that mental health experts suspect is at least in part explained by liberals' tendency to be more worried about stress-inducing topics like racial injustice, income inequality, gun violence, climate change. And I can say anecdotally that my lived experience, and many of my friends, and maybe many of you, confirms this. Now, am I advocating that we stop caring and advocating and working for social justice? In Hebrew, we say tikkun olam, repairing the world. My answer is an emphatic no. You should still go to this breakfast meeting that Allison just talked about. What I am advocating for is less worry. Worry does not change the world. It drains the energy that we need to be an effective advocate. When we practice presence with people with whom we disagree, it can free up energy that we need to stand up and advocate for solutions for these injustices. When we see others as completely separate and unrelatable, it is corrosive and it drains our energy. But let me share a time when I tried to put this presence into practice. In January 2021, I attended an online event sponsored by allsides.com. It's an organization whose purpose is to strengthen our democratic society with balanced news, media bias ratings, diverse perspectives, and real conversation. And it does this by exposing people to information and ideas from all sides of the political spectrum so that they can better understand the world and each other. And if you've not visited the site, allsides.com, I highly recommend it. I get no monetary value from saying this. So this event was a structured session, a dialogue session with people from different perspectives. When I went to my virtual breakout group, it ended up just being me and one other person named Ellen. And right away we had a common meeting of the minds in that we were both happy that we were in fact had different political perspectives. Sometimes when you go to these things, you think you're going to have people who think like you, and that is not helpful for understanding people who are different. Ellen lived in Texas. She was in her mid-60s. She had supported President Trump, and she also was trying to process and make sense of the protests surrounding the murder of George Floyd, and she was concerned about the polarization of our country. So we had a conversation, and we were instructed to talk about American values that were most meaningful to us, and those that we were most proud about, and that also what we struggled with as Americans. And the conversation was surprisingly pleasant and respectful. So much so that I offered and asked if she'd like to continue the conversation, and she said she was. And we kept in touch for another year, 123 email exchanges, 4 Zoom conversations. We watched the documentary, The Reunited States of America, and talked about it. We read the book, From Here to Equality, Reparations for Black Americans in the 21st Century, you may know by William Doherty and Kristen Mullen. And we found commonality about what the past injustices in America have been and how our political system could work better. She talked about her childhood, remembering how racist her parents were, and that she found that upsetting. She talked about having empathy for the mistreatment of Native Americans. And at the same time, she had concerns about what she saw as growing socialism and government overreach with things like mask mandates in schools. And she did not think that January 6th was orchestrated or fomented by President Trump. Still, our email exchanges and conversations were respectful. However, I think along the way, we both lost sight of simply understanding and instead moved to convincing, sharing articles back and forth to make a point. So instead, I think we got more dug in. On the positive side, I never did see Ellen as evil or bad, and our exchanges did give me more insight into her and concerns of people like her. If I were to press the proverbial redo button, I would have focused more on understanding why and hearing more of Ellen's personal story and look for common values instead of trying to debate issues through sharing articles. So I want to tell you about another time I wish I had my personal redo button. It has to do with the holiday season. I can tell you that as a Jew who celebrates Hanukkah in North Carolina, most people assume that I am Christian and wish me a Merry Christmas. And over the course of my life, I've had varied reactions to this. At work, for example, I advocated using the word holiday instead of Christmas when promoting departmental parties during this festive season in order to be more inclusive, only to have a staff member tell me that I was taking the Christ out of her Christmas. At that time, I was kind of flabbergasted. I was a recent transplant from New York, and I had never had this issue come up in a workplace. I wish I had that redo button. I would have liked to have been more curious about why she felt that way. I would say that in time, we had more acceptance for each other's religious traditions, and also I shared more of my traditions with the staff. I can recall feeling indignant when I would get Merry Christmas cards from friends of mine because to me it communicated a lack of awareness or sensitivity in recognizing that I did not share that religious tradition. I could feel indignant when I would go into a store and the cashier would wish me a Merry Christmas. I would sometimes say, well, actually, I celebrate Hanukkah. And I now realize that none of these reactions were connecting to a presence of universal energy, but instead to a hurt reaction. Eckhart Tolle would talk about a pain body, from not being seen. What I have since tried to do, and will continue to work on, is to seek more of a heart connection when I do speak up. For instance, when I think about that cashier wishing me a Merry Christmas, I will thank the person and say, well, actually, I celebrate Hanukkah, but I do wish you a very Merry Christmas. And make sure that for me to send Christmas cards to my friends who are Christian, not just happy holiday cards. So I think the practice of following and practicing patience when we disagree is about having awareness and being conscious of our hurts and not acting from a reactive place. So in summary, I think to practice patience with those with whom we disagree requires us first to look within ourselves and seek an empathy mindset, and then to look outward and seek curiosity instead of condemnation. And lastly, to focus on the quality of our conversation and change from our intention from changing someone's mind to changing the way we see or think about them. And then if we do all these things a little better, we can reap the rewards of greater personal well-being, expanded awareness of our true eternal essence, our universal energy.
Thank you, Dana. That was wonderful. I think it's something that we all need to be reminded of, how to hold ourselves with others and to be about fellow humans and not about being right or wrong. Thank you. So our offertory today goes to Orange County Justice United, who supports our local communities. So please donate by placing cash or checks in the offering basket, or by check, please write plate in the memo. Or you can go to our website and hit the donate button, or use the QR code printed in your order of service. And thank you for your generosity. Thank you. It was beautiful. So please join me in offering a blessing for the offertory, and the words are in the order of service. For the friends beside us each morning, for the beauty of the day, and for the generous gifts just received.
Let us be truly grateful.
Yes. Thank you. It's fun using somebody else's script. Thank you for going with the flow. Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn. Love Will Guide Us. That's number 131, and you're a great hymnal. Oh, for our closing words, these are by Wendell Berry. There are moments when the heart is generous, and then it knows that for better or worse, our lives are woven together here, one with another, and with this place, and all the living things. Please join me as we extinguish our sacred UU flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.
I do.